All right, all right, all right. Welcome to the Way to a Great Marriage cast. This is LaRonda. I am Tony, and LaRonda has a song that are you reading it?
No, yeah, I'm reading.
Reading a song that Omi, her mother, wrote years ago, and so here is LaRonda.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us. The name of this song is, let's see, what just a minute, I had it flipped over. Bring the Lost Wanderers In. I heard Mom sing this, but it's been a long time ago, so I'm just going to read it.
Is it on the album? That sounds familiar.
No, I know it did to me too. Sometimes I feel sad and lonely, and my day seems dark and long. Then I turn my eyes up to Jesus, and I get a feeling I want to go home. But my work down here is not over. I must do my Father's will. I know He'll bless me and guide me. His sweet, precious love I can feel. Isn't that true? When the sun goes down in the evening and your work for this day is o'er, have you done enough for the Master? Do you pray, Lord, I want to do more? Let all work together for Jesus, the one who died for our sins. Go out in the highways and byways, bringing the lost wanderers in. So that's it's 3 verses and a chorus, and
If
it
you
was
sang it would take
it would if you sang it no, and it was written November the 12th, 1994. It's been a long time ago.
Okay, so we've been slacking this week. We weren't on this week, but one night, and the night that we were on, we were both
so tired
that we were falling asleep during the podcast. And we probably looked like that we were high or something.
We couldn't keep our eyes open.
We were not.
No,
we don't do drugs.
No.
So
not even a little bit.
If you look at episode 41, it probably needs to be deleted.
Forgive.
But
Tony said, "I'll never do that again." I was like, "No."
But since I had COVID, several times a year I will. It's like I have COVID again. I'll sleep for a couple of weeks,
yes,
unended, and that's been going on with me. And so I appreciate Aaron and Edwin and Philip checking on me to see if I because they were missing my waycasts, and
yes.
So I do want to do that. We have been having a little trouble with Cecil's Gloryland.
Yeah.
With copyrights. Yeah. Well, what I found out is there's people that do copyright things on everything, so that they can get the money from the monetization.
Right.
It's sort of like stealing money, but YouTube won't do anything about it after listening to many of the podcasts. These people, one group is from South America. The other one is actually part of Warner Brothers Music in Nashville. A guy went down to Nashville and picketed their building because they copyrighted all of his music. But at least they haven't tried to copyright any of Omi's songs yet.
No.
So
I hope not.
They
hers are copywritten. The producer that did our album, they knew she had 250 songs, so she typed them out and sent them to the copier. And he said to mail them to herself. And so she mailed them to herself. So all of her songs are copywritten. Okay. Because they're mailed to her. I have those.
Right. So I probably need to accuse these companies of stealing Omi songs.
You should. Yes.
Or they accuse me of stealing one of their songs.
Exactly.
And it's something that was written back in
95.
95.
Yeah, 1895. They were like.
Yeah, you guys were. Well, the song that they claim we stole. Let's see. Well,
the Father's
we never sing what they actually say that we're doing at Gloryland.
No.
But the song that they claim they have the copyright for was actually written back in 1896. It was like I'll Fly Away from.
No, it was he's standing at the door.
He's standing at the
Yeah,
door.
and I'm like,
I'd never heard of this.
We've never sung He's Standing at the Door.
You'd heard of it, but I had.
Yeah.
But it was written back then.
It's crazy.
Sometime back.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the one that was covered.
I don't know.
Anyway.
Anywho.
So that's what's been going on in the Waycast land.
Sorry.
And so
that we've been lax.
Thought we would catch you up, and so we have here tonight. Exo Marriage did an article called "The Path of Humility." It was interesting. This morning, Cecil asked me to explain what humility was, and I told him it was a 3-step process. So that's the title of this Waycast is 3 steps to humility. And so I said,
isn't that weird?
So I said that we'll start off with my 3 steps, and then we'll go to, and then I'll read the article. It's Celebrate Recovery is basically the first 3 steps. Encompass humility. The first, okay. The first one is you come out of denial. You admit that you're sinful and depraved nature, is how I put it this morning. Number 2 is you mourn about your state before God, and then 3 is you turn your life and will over to Christ's care and control, or submitting to God. That was what one of the ladies said. Submission was one of the things she said about humility. And so you have a 3-step process there of humility that we find in the first 3 Beatitudes. Blessed are the poor in spirit, blessed are those who mourn, and blessed are the meek. And so with that, we will go to the path of humility. And they quote C.S. Lewis once said, humility is not thinking less of yourself, it's thinking of yourself less.
What?
And so, my friends, you're most powerful when you're remarkably humble. The more the couples fight for control, the more they'll lose themselves to pride in the process. And and that's one of the things that I don't know if you noticed that in your prior marriages, but in my prior marriages, I said that they were control freaks.
Yeah.
There is a fight probably within the first 5 years of every marriage, kind of to see who will be in control of, I guess, secular marriages. We don't really care.
No, absolutely not. No.
We could care less who's.
I don't want to be in control. You don't want to be. We're just kind of together.
God's in control.
He's in control.
And so there's a fight, and that's the reason most marriages, besides the sex thing, usually because it's a physical relationship based on emotion rather than on a choice, then it ends in the first 5 years, either because of that or because they're fighting over to see who can be in control. And so it's basically it's really hard for people that are, we talked about the different personalities who are cleric melancholy. In other words, they are bossy perfectionists, and so they're not hard on themselves. Like I am a phlegmatic. One of my tendencies is to be phlegmatic melancholy, which I'm hard on myself. I strive to be perfect. I expect perfection out of myself, but they expect everybody else to be perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
And and then I'm sure that a type A, or which is to me, I guess, a cleric, but a melancholy personality would be would be a little bit on the controlling side of it as well. Maybe even a cleric would be controlling.
I think a cleric would definitely be controlling.
And people who have narcissistic tendencies would have a tendency to be controlling. What I learned was that they had I never knew what their agenda was.
Right.
They had a hidden agenda.
Right.
And I never knew what that was.
I don't like a hidden agenda. I want to know what's going on.
It was obviously to control me.
Yeah, probably.
So that hit the bell. Ding 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 ding.
Ding ding ding.
That you like to use was whenever it talked about the fight, couples fight for control. So if you're fighting for control, you probably have some selfishness going on there, and pride is the opposite of pride usually comes along with selfishness, and that causes them to want to be control freaks.
Right.
Or
but now, to me, in a marriage that is a godly marriage, like you said, there is no control. God is in control. And if you're looking for God's will in a marriage, the man is supposed to be the head of his household. And that doesn't mean he bosses the woman. You sit down, woman, and be quiet. No. It just means you're side by side. You treasure your lady. You love her like Jesus loves the church. And she wants to take care of you. She wants to take care of her children. And, it's God, then your husband, then you. And, and then somebody go, oh, the children come before. No, they don't. Your spouse comes before the children. But then if you're going by the way of God, then the children's going to be well taken care of anyway. That's how I look at it.
And so pride manifests in many ways, but inevitably it shifts blame. No matter what, a self-centered person sees others as the problem. Rarely making concessions for their spouse, they avoid accountability for their actions. If your behavior toward your spouse is perceived by them as if your behavior toward your spouse is perceived by them as manipulative or domineering, they may retreat into themselves as a protective measure, in which case their assumed despondency may provoke an extrovert who tries to force a response in a situation. In other words, you have, as Rick Warren says, there are ever, for some reason, turtles and what was the other one? There's two animals. The other one is like a screamer. But they attract each other.
Yeah. And then he goes,
as they intensify the conversation, the other person is internally running further and further away to escape both the confrontation and their spouse. Now, what we're talking about here is actually the thing that is in the Love is a Choice book. It sounds what I'm hearing is as one of them withdraws, which is the independent. Remember, there's this like pulling away. As the independent becomes more independent or withdraws from the relationship, the other one is more pursuing, which makes them withdraw even further. Further. And it's actually down this way. And the further they go down this way, the more of a conflict.
Separation there is too.
That there is in the marriage. Because they just kind of push each other away from each other, and then it just and that's whenever you have conflict, and lots of times that ends in physical abuse.
Oh boy.
Yeah, is the problem.
That's a problem.
Is why that I saw that in most of my relationships.
I never did have any physical abuse.
So that's what it sounds like it's describing there.
Yeah.
If you want your spouse full participation, you must create a safe place to communicate your hopes, concerns, and desires. So they need to feel safe to be able to the one who's independent or who's the turtle, goes into his shell whenever the other one gets loud.
Yeah.
Then it needs to be, you've got to be quiet to get the turtle to come out. You remember as a kid playing with tarpons, you had to
not say anything.
Of course, we always would go off and then we'd forget, and
then he'd be gone.
And he'd be gone.
They move pretty quick.
they run like 100 miles an hour when you're not looking.
That could be.
But that's in the relationship too.
Yeah, exactly.
The independent, the one who's the turtle in the relationship. Whenever the other one's not looking, okay,
I'm out of here.
I went fishing. Text the spouse. I'm fishing for the weekend.
And if I don't get enough fish, I'll stay a little longer.
Whenever you decide to start talking to me decently, I'll be back.
Exactly.
Anyway, so, this is the best way to begin the process of facilitating unity. Set aside a time to hear each other out. In other words, because the dominant one or the one who's dependent, maybe, I don't know. Sometimes it's the other way around, but the ones that's the vocal one, I remember there was occasion whenever I went over to my pastor's house and my wife at the time, we were talking about the mission trip we were going on. She had no idea anything about it. And so she got mad at me because I hadn't told her. And I said, well, I can't get in a word edgewise.
I'm not going to tell
you. In a communication, especially probably the person that's the turtle probably needs more time. You can set a timer. Each of you get 5 minutes to
CR.
Well, it is like CR.
Yeah.
Play by the rules of the small group guidelines in your discussion. That works great. 3 to 5 minutes a piece, and then you go back and forth.
Probably 3 to 5 minutes. Probably isn't quite long enough. But when me and Tony talk, he'll say, "Let's talk 15." You always say 15 minutes.
I do.
And, yep.
I don't remember.
You do. I'm reminding you. No, and Tony doesn't like to talk after we lay down. That's when most women want to talk. It's when you lay down. But, but now we talk in the car or wherever.
This is especially important during transitional moments. Pause to explore what's really going on. Upon hearing one another's answers, couples can grow stronger without losing their goals. Absorbing this, why would you set a time to hear someone whom you consider inferior is in understanding? See, that's the problem is most people don't want to hear the other person at all. They don't really care what the other person thinks. They just want to convince them that they're right.
True.
And so that's why that you learn to listen instead of interrupting. That's part of CR too. No crosstalk. So whenever one person has the floor, they have the floor, so that you're not cross-talking. So that's the way that you have a healthy discussion.
And so you feel like that's conversation, like even in a marriage situation?
Yes,
okay.
I would follow if you're having difficulty.
If you're having difficulty,
I mean, we don't do that because we're not having
In a difficult thing.
toxic relationship
No.
with each other.
Praise God.
but you know, if you have a controlling individual in the dynamics, you need to play by the rules of celebrate
That's a good idea.
and the small group
I wish
guidelines.
I'd known that a long time ago.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
If you perceive them to be incompetent, why seek their input? This is where humility kicks into higher gear. You aren't greater than them. It shouldn't be a competition to win a point,
Right.
or an argument.
That's right. Yeah.
You can't win against. You're not smart enough to win an argument with me. I've been told that before.
Yeah.
The moment this happens, they lose, and so that's the bad thing is that as soon as they have this idea that you're not smart enough to win a battle against me. Actually, whenever you win the battle, you lose the war.
That's right.
Marriage.
That's true.
It's whenever that you get angry and cuss, or if one spouse hits the other one, that no matter if that person's right, they automatically lost.
Right, they sure have.
And there's
I agree.
coming back from that.
No.
You've lost the war, even though you.
And really, I'm going to be honest and transparent. Most of the time, Tony has been through so much stuff and all these years of Celebrate Recovery that a whole lot of the things that we're discussing, most of the time, he is right. And don't be afraid to say, you were right about that. And I just didn't really understand the concept of it or whatever you're talking about.
What you say, I always think that you're right.
You always are right. I'll go, you always are right. No, it's true. But you will be right a lot of the times in situations because they've had the experience of it. It's not that, hey, look, I'm better than you, I'm always right. It's like, well, I've experienced that before. So don't ever feel bad about somebody being right on a subject.
It should not be a competition to win a point. The moment this happens, they lose, which means the relationship is losing, and you aren't learning much when you're the one who's always talking. So in other words, shut up and listen.
Be quiet and listen. God tells us that too.
You'll know that you're talking in humility when you put the needs of your spouse above your own. When you've had a hard day at work or craving a remote in your hand and want nothing more than to be laid out on the couch with the TV on, but realize your wife has had a hard day, you humble yourself, run her bath water, put the kids to bed,
I like that.
make sure that she gets the night off, wash the dishes, vacuum the floor. Yeah, that's not there, but.
Oh yeah, that's true. If you've got a sink full of dishes from the day, and you come in and somebody has washed them, do you not feel like a queen? Yes.
Let's see. Humility is on full display when she recognizes that he's a little rusty on his romance game. Still, it's been a while since they've been sexually intimate. He walks into the bedroom, and to his surprise, oh yes, humility. This is XO Marriage.
I love it.
Podcast. They love talking about sex.
Yeah.
Couples who walk the path of humility honor one another's strengths, but also share their weaknesses. They don't have to have it together all 24 hours of the day. But one of the things I did that happened whenever I met Rhonda, because she's more of a sanguine, which is sort of the life of the party. And
Can't we all just get along?
and so she's the one that would call the police. Their car's missing in the parking lot. Come to find out it's in the garage, but
that would be
she
me.
didn't do that.
I didn't do that.
But that's the quintessential sanguine. Pushed me more toward being with her. Pushes me more toward my melancholy, the perfectionist. In my personality, before when I met her, I was kind of centered, or that I was. I was sort of a sanguine, phlegmatic melancholy.
And Sissy says I'm all 42.
Yeah, well, she says that, but
that's what she says. I'm just saying. She said we had 3 of the same personalities, and we may be stronger in one area than the other, because you love to host, you love to be around people, and if you're around, I hear you laughing.
Then we may have pushed each other.
We have,
even more toward the sanguine, or the
That's
melancholy, which happens. What I'm saying is that because of being around each other, we tend to do that. But in the good way, it takes. We're complimenting each other.
Really, truly,
but in the bad way, we get on each other's nerves because we.
I do. I get on your nerves.
Well, you don't get perfectionism doesn't get on your
Yes.
nerves.
Yes.
So anyway.
I'm just kidding with you.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm moving on.
Okay.
Let's see. They don't have to have it together all 24 hours of the day.
True.
She's able to admit that she gets it wrong sometimes. He can ask forgiveness for forgetting to pay the bill, and is willing to admit that the late fee is his fault.
That's funny.
They're starting to meddle there. That's a little too close to home.
Yeah, they are.
The need to be chronically correct has been put in check. They carry themselves with an open-minded attitude. They ask their spouse questions like, "What do you think we should do about little Billy's bad attitude at school?" Or "These interest rates are super low. I think right now is the best time to buy." They went up, obviously, since this is written. Can we pray about the next step? There's a level of satisfaction and contentment acquired only through the path of humility. Healthy couples are mature enough to see that it's not just about me, but it's about we.
I think we do that. We talk to each other about everything like that. You talk to me if you're thinking about buying something, or, and ask my opinion, and that matters to a lot to someone if you value their opinion on something, like a big purchase or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
I was just thinking that the big problem a lot of couples make is that they open their mouth and say things that they can't take back, and then the other person remembers it for the rest of their life.
Ever. It never goes away. Ever.
So I learned, by the time you came along, I learned to just keep my mouth shut, because that was one of the things I had a bad thing about doing, was just, pointing out people's things I didn't like about them, or forget that.
Well, you taught me how if you're going to say something about each other, then you better say something good to match up with it. I feel like you're a wonderful husband, even if you do this way, and I don't agree, but yet you're good in that. I always think you should shoot back, and you've taught me that with something good, because if you tell somebody all day long that they're dumb, you're dumber than a cold bucket, you're dumb, and ain't you got no better sense than that, they're going to start believing it like you do a child. If you tell a child it's dumb, even if it's got a high IQ, it's going to think it's dumb because it's been told that its whole life. Same in marriage, brag on each other. tell each other good things.
Or was it an art letter that used to say, if you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything at all? Was that his? Or
Don't say anything. But I mean, if you're with someone, there has to be a reason, and you have to see good in them, or you wouldn't be with them. You know, I mean, if you don't see something good in them, I mean, that's my way of looking at the world. You know, I would not be with you if I didn't see good in you and see what you
but
need
so
to
many
know,
couples, though, it's all about telling the other one how
bad they are.
or how they're driving each other, or you know, how they're putting each other down.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like to put each other down. I would rather not, you know. Which I'm not a confrontational person. I don't like confrontation. I don't like to make somebody feel bad, even if they are doing bad. I don't want to tell them how bad I think they are. I just rather tell them the good things I see in them, you know, and that's, I don't know, that's just the way I feel. I've always felt that way my whole life. But I've always loved people my whole life too. So, you know, you can hate someone's actions and love their soul. We never want anybody to go to hell. We love the soul, but we hate what they say or what they do. We hate that, but love their soul. That's kind of how I've always seen people myself. That's just me. What say you, Tony Bob?
Well, that gets into another issue. You know, the people who have high conflict personality disorders. One of the things that they do is split. You know, where they only see you as good or bad. So if you're their spouse and you flip from them seeing you as good to seeing you as no good in you, then you're kind of in trouble.
Yeah, there's no going back to the good, is there?
Not in those personality disorders. Yeah. They don't seek help, and it takes a lot of help to get them back to normal.
I've seen those kind.
And it's a sad state to be where they can't see any good in you. And
they a lot of times don't see any good in anyone. You know, you hear them talking, they see no good in anyone.
Well, they do as long as they see you.
Yeah.
I mean, Dad. Everybody always loved Dad. He saw right through him. He couldn't stand him. He knew exactly what they were, but you know, for some reason, everybody loved Dad.
Yeah, and he, you know, I mean, even Sissy said it took Dad a year to see if you were really going to be who you said you were, and he said she's who she says she is. Right. I loved him with all my heart, you know.
So that's about our time tonight.
Yep, and that was on humility. How can you be humble, right? It was on humility.
The 3 steps to
humility. The 3 steps to humility. So that was a good one. Thank you for finding that one.
Yeah, I thought that it went very well with you know, especially this morning's Bible study at Cecil's.
Yes. No, I mean the Sunday school. Yeah, that went real well with that.
So we like.
Yes.
Subscribe. Katie wants you to subscribe.
Yep. Katie's subscribing. Share.
Comment. Ask questions. We may make, if you have a good enough question, we may make a whole podcast about your question.
Please do.
Hit the
ding, ding, ding notification. When we come on, you'll know that we're on, so you can join us.
And harass us live in person.
Please.
There's been a few people in the room that have been hiding, not wanting to comment, but you're welcome to ask questions and make comments at any time. If we don't see them now, we'll take care of them in the next Waycast. But with that, I think
Thank you for joining us.
With that,
Power on. Bluetooth pairing. Bluetooth connected.
we say,
Good night, until we meet again. Adios, au revoir, I'll be the same till then. And though it's always sweet sorrow to part, you know you'll always remain in my heart. Good night, sweet night, and pleasant dreams to you. There's a wish and a prayer that every dream comes true. And now till we meet again. Adios, au revoir, I'll be the same.
good night.